Number 2 stock up here. This one might surprise some people. It might surprise some people. I'll be honest with you guys, okay? Number 2 of these 6 stocks that I will be likely buying in the month of November 2023 is, get ready for it, Palantir. PLTR. This stock has treated me very well, up 66% on it, up $32,000, okay? Man, Palantir, it's actually gotten interesting. Again, it's down the $14 range. And here's the deal, okay? I think analysts are wrong on this stock. The stock looks like it trades really rich, right? It looks like it trades at very high valuations. You look at what's expected for analyst expectations for next year's earnings, and we're trading at about 56 times. That's a 56 forward P. Now, coming off of a PayPal we just looked at, I mean, it's trading at 2024 numbers of what, 8 times, 7 times, 9 times, depending upon where your numbers are at. So Palantir looks like the world's most expensive stock. I do not believe analysts are correct, okay? Here's the deal. Palantir just entered what's called an infant stage of profitability, I call it, okay? This is when a company just starts to hit profitability. Now, usually when a company hits infant stage of profitability, over the next several years, their growth clip is rapid in terms of earnings per share. It grows rapidly and a lot faster than really anybody's anticipating. Analysts have this company's earnings per share only growing 17% in 2024. For a company that's at infant stage of profitability, I just don't see that, folks. I don't see that. I think they're going to way outstrip that growth rate. I also believe their revenue estimates are too low as well. Based upon all the traction I'm kind of seeing out there in the market, I don't believe those numbers are accurate, okay? And so this is a more inaccurate numbers. Like I believe revenue is way too low in terms of analyst estimates, but I believe the earnings per share are massively wrong. Massively wrong. And I think everybody's going to see in 2024 and 2025 that, whoa, this company's getting to way bigger profitability and cash flows than a lot of people anticipate as of right now, okay? Now, Palantir also has an insane balance sheet, which makes me sleep well at night, right? It's always great if you can buy companies with great balance sheets. The crazy thing about Palantir's balance sheet, this is as of last quarter, $3.1 billion in cash and short-term investments. And guess what their total liabilities, if you added up all their liabilities on the entire balance sheet is, guess what that number is? Here it is. $945 million in liabilities, total liabilities. That's insane, man. That is absolutely insane that they have, let's call it 3x roughly in cash and short-term investments versus liabilities. Like, that's crazy number. Crazy number, okay? Now, Palantir's in a sweet spot right now because they have best-of-breed products. The government's really starting to realize that, right? And so Gotham and Apollo are going to just continue to tear it up over this next few years. And you see a lot of government contracts look like they're starting to come in left and right? And on the commercial space, which just think of it as a company space, a lot of folks are interested in AIP, which is ultimately, right, at least as of right now, it seems like it's a Trojan horse for Foundry. And so expect the commercial business to likely grow substantially faster over the next several years than we've seen over the last several years. Let's just put it that way, okay? So this is kind of I call it a beautiful sweet spot for the company where they got government coming in and they got the commercial business roaring. Now, I have a lot of people in the private stock group who have worked with Palantir in the past, okay, and are very well aware of the products Palantir has. Because a lot of people don't understand the product. It's not like an iPhone that you can play with and understand it, right? Here's what I've heard from people that have joined my private group over time and have experience with this actual product, and even people in the military that have experienced this product. I have never heard anybody say anything bad about Palantir's product ever in the private stock group or just in general. And I've dealt with quite a few people now that deal with this product on a day in, day out basis, either on the government side or on the commercial side, and I just can't find anybody that says, oh, Palantir's product's not all that. It's a bad product. No one says that. Everybody says it is a best-of-breed product. It's an extremely in-depth product. It's the best in breed. And I just think there's a huge value when you have a best-of-breed product, when you have something better than what everybody else has, right? There's an inherent kind of, as more and more folks find out about this, they tell more and more folks, right? So as more and more governments use this, they're either going to tell, let's call it friendly other governments, right? Or they're going to explain to other government agencies that, hey, this product works. It gets us results. If a company uses it, it saves us a lot of money. And then those executives go to other companies, and then they're like, what the crap, we got this garbage that we're using, we need to get Palantir in here, right? Because think about it, if you use Palantir at company XYZ, and you move, and you're let's say you're the CFO of that company, and you become the CFO of ABC company, right? Or whatever position that's a really important position, and you look at your software and you're like, we're using this? Why do we not have Palantir? You're going to bring on Palantir. So it starts to become like a snowball effect, right? Of like more and more people telling more and more people, and you start to just have really the customers do the work for you, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's the best thing in business. Like word of mouth is always the best thing in business, right? It's no different than I remember my dad, had a pool business, right? And I grew up in the pool business, cleaning pools and stuff like that. My dad's service was always impeccable, right? He always made sure he was on top of everything. He showed up on time. Like it was always perfect. And he never advertised. He never spent a dime in his life on advertising. All his customers and how he provided for our family, right, was all from word of mouth. Every customer my dad ever got was from word of mouth. Think about that for a moment. And he built a successful business and, was able to get us out of, poverty and get us into the middle class from word of mouth. That's the most powerful thing in business, folks. Let that hit you for a moment, okay? And so just understand, when you've got best of breed products, word of mouth is everything. You don't need to spend a fortune on advertising if you really got it like that, okay? That's the bottom line. Now, earnings history. Karp and the executives have done something very important here recently, other than just getting to profitability. Something very important just happened, okay? What this is Karp and the executive team has started to understand the game of Wall Street. I could tell when these guys went public, they just didn't get it. They didn't get it. That was like, I could just tell, like everything they were doing, like the way they carried conversations, everything, like I was like, they don't understand Wall Street. They don't understand what Wall Street wants to see. And that's why you saw the stock go to $5, $6 last year, right? Now they get it. So look at this. This was a company that would miss quarter in and quarter out in EPS. They missed here. They missed there. They missed there. They missed. You can't do that. That's how you become a penny stock. That's how you become a $5, $6 stock like Palantir became last year. You know how you get out of that? You start beating on earnings. That's a beat. That's a beat. They came in line there. Wall Street wants to see you beating numbers or coming in line. That's the game of Wall Street. And so Karp and the team, I think, is starting to realize we got to start coming in, at least in line, but likely start beating these numbers, so then Wall Street can start to look at us, investors start to look at us with confidence, rather than everybody being so scared going into earnings, right? The worst thing as investors when you're scared going into earnings, because you know that company usually misses, and you're like, oh, I'm not so worried about these numbers. The best feeling possible is when you go in confident. Like I went in last week with Amazon Meta earnings. I knew Amazon was going to come in and smash it. I knew Meta was going to come in and smash it. Based upon everything I understand those businesses, I knew they would kill it. Sure enough, they did it, right? That's where Palantir is going to. That's where they're going to get to, where people are going to start becoming very confident in their earnings reports. And, that's an easier feeling as an investor, right? And you also attract more traders in the stock, which some of those traders end up turning into longs as well, right? Because traders don't want to buy a stock going into earnings if they're usually pretty convinced that the stock misses earnings, right? Something very important there. No, S&P 500 inclusion could be still coming for Palantir overall, so it's something, I think it's something important to keep in mind here in regards to stock price. When does it happen? We'll see. We'll see when S&P 500 inclusion. I would guess at some point in 2024, we get an S&P 500. It is not guaranteed, but Palantir is starting to meet every criteria essentially you need to have to get into the S&P 500. And so I would say it's a pretty high probability that we're in at some point in 2024. It's just a real question of, is it the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, okay? Now, Palantir used to be like a $35+ stock, right? If we go back to, this was like peak market bubble, January 2021, right? The stock reached $35, or I think it was actually above that, but as far as trading view, it has at 35. I think it actually could take that out in the next 24 months, unless we have a market crash. If we have a market crash where it gets way worse than what we already have going on, maybe we're not taking that out. But I'm pretty confident based upon what I think is going to happen with EPS over this next few years, the sort of money I think Palantir is going to be able to attract. Also, getting into the S&P 500, I think there's a real possibility we could take that $35 price out. In the next 24 months, folks, okay? So overall, I'm very bullish on Palantir. I can't wait to hear these earnings. I can't wait to hear guidance. I think they're in a sweet spot for the next several years, and I think they're going to become a cash flow machine. I think they're going to become an ATM. That's the bottom line. That's my view of Palantir. They're going to become an ATM of a company. And then they're going to be able to take that money and potentially do more share buybacks, which will obviously help the EPS as your net income starts to pile up, right? And then you can buy back more shares. It obviously helps your earnings per share. Then when everybody was talking about SBC a couple of years ago, right, stock-based compensation, that becomes not even a factor anymore. So bullish on Palantir, and I could actually start buying some shares again in the month of November. We shall see. Stock number 4 of these 5 is Palantir. Oh, baby, is this one set up good. Now, let me address an elephant in the room right off the bat with Palantir. You see the stock price, 189% performance year to date, right? It's like, oh my gosh, the stock, it's already gone up so much. It can't go up anymore. It's maxed out. It's got to be overvalued, right? It doesn't work like that, okay? Let me show you a 2-year chart of Palantir. On a 2-year chart of Palantir, the stock's down about 18 percentage points. So wait a minute. 2 years, it's down about 18%. And keep in mind, the company's in a far stronger position than it was 2 years ago. I mean, it's like a night and day difference. 2 years ago, they were still talking about huge stock-based compensation, huge losses on the company, a bunch of disasters all over the place, okay? And now the company's so well set up, I'm like, it's almost laughable that the stock is trading under where it was trading 2 years ago, okay? Very, very laughable. Now, if you played out the kind of timing game right, which I certainly did, you're up significantly on the stock. I'm already up $53,000, but I think it's a small amount from what I'll be up over time in regards to the stock. I just timed it out probably better than maybe some other folks did, because I looked out there and I said, I like to buy a stock usually right before it's going to flip to profitability. And so I started buying the stock about a quarter or two before they actually started to flip over to that profit side. And man, has it been treating me well, and I think it's going to be treating me a whole lot better in the future. Here's the deal, okay? The company's about to have a reacceleration of revenue growth, which is one of the most exciting things for stock to ever have happen. It's already actually transpiring with the company, by the way. I mean, the revenue growth reached some pretty bad levels toward the end of last year, beginning of this year. And now we're starting to see a reacceleration of revenue growth. I think the numbers are way too low that analysts have. Analysts had the company growing about 19.5% revenues 2024. I think is way too low, okay? It's really two parts. One part is the government side. They should have some massive government deals coming in the international market and U.S. market. We're in a more dangerous world than we've certainly been in some time. And in a more dangerous and complicated world, Palantir is a product you need, okay? Bottom line is, like, Palantir's biggest strengths on the government side is not really peacetime. It's actually drama time, okay? And so that's a huge strength for Palantir over this next several years. Part number 2 is commercial needs Palantir more than ever. Every single company out there is trying to figure out, how can I use my data much more efficiently, smarter, and how can I use artificial intelligence? And I told you guys for a year plus, Palantir's the cross sections of data and artificial intelligence, having your business make much better decisions and saving you tremendous amounts of cost and saving you more money as a business than whatever you're spending on it, right? And so we have a fundamental change in the business model here, where previously there was about a 6-month pilot. If you were to try to get a new commercial customer, so let's say Palantir wanted to go after company XYZ, okay? It was like a 6-month pilot for that company to really start to see results and try to figure out, okay, is Palantir a great product for us? Now through AIP, they're talking about they're doing these 2-day boot camps that their customers can see right off the bat the results their product can give. I mean, that's the holy grail. Karp on the conference call talked about he did some sort of boot camp. He said it took him 6 hours. 6 hours. So we're talking about this is going from many months of a potential sales cycle to maybe potentially days or weeks. And that's a game changer for your business model, right? If it takes you, that was one of the only negative things you can say about Palantir in the past is their sales cycle's so long. It takes them 6, 12, 18, 24 months to pull in a customer. Now we're talking about that customer can see results in a matter of days. That's a huge game changer for Palantir, like an overnight game changer, okay? Now, I believe analysts have screwed up bad. I believe analysts, which 17 analysts have numbers out there, they have them only doing 29 cents of EPS next year. I'm like, how? How are they only going to do 29 cents? We know they're going to likely still make a fortune from treasuries next year, okay? That's basically in the bag. But this company at infant stage of profitability. And now they're flipping their operating side of their income in a massive way as well, right? And so I'm looking out there, I'm like, I don't think analysts understand how stocks work. I literally don't think they do, because I love to track stocks that are basically that just reached the infant stage of profitability, which is a Palantir. And what you usually see is insane EPS growth over the next several years coming out of that, okay? And I watched it with Tesla, I watched it with 1,000 stocks over the past 15 years. And so I believe analysts are way too low. So the stock looks like, oh, it's very expensive. It's 62 times the expected 2024 numbers. And I'm looking out there, I'm like, you think they're only going to do 29 cents of EPS? You think they're only going to do 29 cents of EPS in 2024? No, okay. This number right here is even too low. That number is too low. Even the highest analyst expectation is far too low for this company, okay? Now, on top of that, here's the deal. They just launched a few months ago a big share repurchase, okay? $1 billion stock buyback plan, essentially, okay? Now, one is Palantir's got a fortress balance sheet so they can pull this off. Two, it's funny because, I mean, it's crazy how things can change over time, right? I mean, literally just a couple of years ago, all everybody talked about for the negative with Palantir was not only the long sales cycle, but stock-based compensation, right? And now, in a matter of a couple of years, how fast things have flipped, where now we're talking about taking shares off the market with a massive $1 billion buyback or so, right? I mean, what a change. What a change in a matter of just 2 or 3 years. And so you got to think, what if Palantir has made this much progress in their business model just in the past 2 years, how much progress are they going to make over the next 2 years when their products are perfectly positioned, right? Now, S&P 500 inclusion. Okay, let's talk about this. This is something that is likely going to happen for the company. And when is it going to happen for the company? It's likely going to happen in 2024. Okay. I don't know what quarter will have to happen. And that's a huge moment because once it's announced that they're going to get an S&P 500, usually you see a big, kind of run up for the stock because a lot of people buy, knowing that a bunch of funds are going to be forced to buy Palantir. In Palantir, the more the market cap goes up into that inclusion, the more potentially these funds and ETFs and folks will have to buy Palantir because it's going to be a bigger and bigger weight when it goes in. So, that's going to be a pretty extraordinary situation. And like I said, I think there's it's no guarantees, but I think it's a pretty high probability that in 2024, S&P 500 inclusion happens. Okay. Now, next part is, in the private stock group, we have a tremendous amount of Palantir shareholders in there, but also Palantir folks that have used the product over time, either on the military side, government side, commercial side, okay? I haven't heard anybody speak bad about Palantir's products. Everybody I've heard, it says this product's next level, man. This is the best of the best. This is a creme de la creme. There's nothing above this product, okay? So that's phenomenal because I don't experience the product on a day-to-day basis. So I got to count on other people that use this product and have used this product and what they say, okay? Like I said, I never hear anybody speak bad about the product. The second component is the team in regards to Palantir. From what I've heard, Palantir is one of the hardest companies you can possibly imagine. We got a lot of different software engineers and engineers in general inside the private stock group. And what I've heard from those folks is they say, trying to get into Palantir, good luck. You can get into Google, Meta, companies like that before you can get into Palantir. So the folks are the highest level that are working over there at Palantir, okay? And those type of folks, they want to work for a Karp. They just do. And so that's phenomenal as well. So when do I sell Palantir, okay? Because the stocks were already up 109% of the stock. When do I sell the stock? I will say this. When do I sell the stock? No time soon. No time soon. When I look at Palantir, the company's at infant stage of profitability. They're going to expand profitability in an epic way over the coming years. I know these sorts of business models. These sorts of business models become the biggest cash cows of the cash cows. These are sorts of business models that over a 5-10 year span, everybody ends up wanting to own because they become such cash cows and they're so predictable with their business, right? Because I think their product's going to be extremely sticky. And if you're a government entity and you start using Palantir, I think you're going to continue to use Palantir for potentially decades to go in the future. I think the same thing on the commercial side. You sign a 3-year deal with Palantir. I think you're going to sign another 3, 5, 7, 10-year deal after that deal, okay? And so this is almost like the holy grail of business models. And so I don't know when I sell Palantir. I just tell you it's no time soon. No time soon. Do I ever sell Palantir? I don't know, maybe someday. But it's so far away from me even being interested in selling the stock. It's not even funny, folks, okay? That was stock number 4 or 5. Now, Palantir, we've got 2 bad things and 1 good thing to get to in regards to Palantir, okay? First up, Jim Cramer. Cramer came out and he said Palantir's a buy. He says, it's that time again. Jim Cramer called the stock a buy, okay? And so everybody, grab a screenshot of your Palantir gains and kiss them goodbye. Oh, man, okay? In all seriousness, there's a lot of people saying that's a top for Palantir now because Cramer's came out and said, I don't believe in that stuff. I kind of feel like it's a little bit of witchcraft. I don't believe in that stuff, but there's a lot of people that do, and so they believe that literally because Kramer came out and said Palantir's now a buy, that the stock's going to start going down. So we'll see. Hope for the best. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Second thing is, in regards to this, NHS. So it looks like Palantir's won the NHS deal, but it keeps not being official, okay, essentially. And it kind of keeps getting pushed down, delayed, and people are like, what is going on? What is taking so long? Is it like, something that they have to do on the branding side to make this deal make magic? Or so it's frustrating. And as Palantir shareholders, we just want it to be official, and that's it. But we're still not at that point. And so maybe it comes later this month, maybe it comes in December, or maybe we have to wait all the way to 2024. It's just frustrating that it keeps getting pushed out, and we're like, can we just get this freaking over with and announce this damn deal? So that's something we got to deal with there, okay? Now, this we have a huge Palantir community in the private stock group, right? Some people that have worked with the product over the time in different capacities on the commercial side or on the government side or whatever, right? And just a lot of Palantir folks in general in the private stock group. And so always sharing stuff in the Palantir chat. Somebody shared this. HSBC upgrades Palantir to buy from neutral. HSBC said it upgraded Palantir in that it's increased conviction in the company's business model, and it's increasing its price target to $21 from previously it was at $16. So one of the good things we got for Palantir is I think you're going to see a lot more coverage initiate for Palantir in 2024. A lot more analysts cover the stock, and we're going to have still a lot of upgrade cycles to go because the stock's doing so well. These analysts have to keep kind of chasing numbers, which bodes well for the share price, because then these analysts just keep upgrading their price targets, and then this guy goes from 16 to 21, and then if it goes 20 from over 21, and let's say it goes to 23, then he's got to go from 21 to 25, right? And so you kind of get into that cycle. So that's positive momentum in regards to stock price overall and just visibility for the company.